What is up, everybody? Welcome back. It's your favorite director's favorite director in the famous words of Alison De Laurentiis.
Did you miss me?
Welcome back, welcome back. I would love to say that it's been forever, but it hasn't. Before I get into all the nitty gritty, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your mental health? I hope you're finding peace in this crazy, crazy world, especially right now. I am actually going to start this off with a sense of gratitude and thank you to everybody that is following me over on Patreon or subscribed over on my Patreon. You guys are such troopers. There are moments where I'm not posting anything at all, and there are moments where I'm posting back to back to back to back, and you've been there through it all, so thank you for that. Any video that I'm posting on YouTube, you can find in full over on my Patreon as a full reaction or a full commentary, and then some. We're doing a lot of different things over there. It's fun. I promise. It is really fun. Yes, if you just want to show gratitude, there's a tier for that. If you want to just get basic content, there's a tier for that. And if you want more than that, there's a tier for that. So hopefully there's something that you find, and there's a list that you want to be a part of. We have the A list, the B list, the C list over there. So whatever you want, I hope that we have for you. Yeah. Thank you, Patreon. Thank you to any future members. Thank you to all the members now. And thank you to all the past members. I appreciate all of you guys. Now, with all of that good stuff being said, I know what I said. I said we're going to do Christmas, and I promise we're going to do Christmas. More Christmas. Because I will be watching The Grinch. But this was very hot. This has been sent to me over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and react to this. We're going to watch Cold Case, What Happened, Who Killed JonBenét Ramsey. I have absolutely no idea what the heck I'm getting ready to watch. I don't know who JonBenét Ramsey is. I don't even know the story, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know why I don't know the story. I guess I just don't. So if you have anything to add, or if you want to say anything or discuss anything, please, please, please do so in the comments, because I really have no idea. And I eat that up. It's food for my soul. I don't know if it's going to hurt me that I don't know anything. I don't know if it's going to help me that I don't know anything, but we're going to see how good my commentary really is, because I have no idea what the hell I'm going to watch. And so I hope that the commentary stays the same, or that I can still find or give some type of insight into what exactly is happening. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. If you want to know when I'm posting videos like this or anything else, don't be afraid to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, just to get notified for when I'm posting. I want you to know when I'm posting, because I want you to be here. I love that you're here. I love that you're here. And I love communicating with you guys. So keep commenting. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If I don't get back to you, just keep commenting. I'll get back to you eventually. With that being said, I do want to jump right in. There's 3 parts to this series, so we're going to do all 3 parts. Hopefully we get those knocked out, bang, 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 so that we can jump back into Christmas, because something tells me I'm going to need it after watching this series. Anyways, I appreciate you. And if you're new, welcome. If you're not, you know what that means. Pull up a seat, grab some snacks, lay in bed, and let's watch it.
It was a case that people couldn't stop talking about.
Who killed JonBenét is as big a mystery as ever.
So, woo! I'm so excited that I'm starting right off the back. So, God, I watch so much Criminal Minds. I do. That's okay. I love that for me. So, and it's so funny that I'm using Criminal Minds, like, as my resume. When somebody is taken out of their bed, that, depending on the evidence that was left, makes them either organized or disorganized. But if you're going to break in and kidnap somebody, you have to be very organized, because there are too many factors that can happen. So if they did break in and kidnap her out of her bed, either they got to her while she was asleep and they covered her mouth and they kind of made it to where she couldn't scream, she couldn't fight. They told her that they were going to kill mom and dad if she screamed. they incapacitated her in some way, whether that be giving her something to knock her out, whatever the case may be there. And all of those things make for a very organized person. There's so much planning that has to go into that, and it's rare. This is not like a common thing that happens. People don't just break into houses and kidnap people. It is too risky. There's too many, like I said, there's too many things that can go wrong. So that's one thing. Or on the flip side of the coin, which is what they just said, it was somebody in the family, which would explain why nobody heard anything, why they didn't find out till the next morning, though there was a ransom note left. I'm obviously interested to see what that says, but again, people don't just decide to wake up one day and kidnap somebody and get away with it clean with no evidence left behind. Way too organized. And a high risk victim. You're talking about somebody who was well known to society. You're talking about a little girl who was taken care of by her family, who was in her home. A high risk victim, it's just not common. Wow. I feel like I'm a profiler. Good for me. Good for me.
Whether or not they're involved in this, I don't know. I just hope I can be of some use in bringing that killer or killers to justice.
The only other option is that it wasn't one person, and that tends to be more likely. One person breaking in, kidnapping her, keeping her quiet, that just seems way too difficult of a plan. So having multiple people there or involved seems more logical, but it can also be more dangerous, even for the killers, because one can turn on the other. Too many things can go wrong. It's like, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't kill people. That's why I didn't know about it. I was born 2 months earlier. 2 months before it happened, I was born.
When I heard Patsy scream, and she'd gone downstairs to the kitchen and found this ransom note.
Jesus, it's not even a ransom note. It's like a manifesto, but like in reverse. Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. Respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $150,000 will be in... Okay, what? $100 bills and the remaining 18. So $168,000, really fucking specific. An adequate size to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I'll call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I suggest you be rested. Jesus. So advise you to be rested. If you get in early, we might call you. Oh, if we monitor you getting your money, they might call you. Wow. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. I mean, $168,000 is super specific. Being a foreign faction that respects his business but not the country that it serves is interesting. The use of in our possession versus like we have your daughter is interesting. It's also interesting to see like the scratch marks, like the errors. That's so weird to me that you're making mistakes on your ransom note, but I guess you're weird like that. I'm so like this is so weird. It feels like an episode of Criminal Minds. I don't even know how to fathom what I'm watching. Yeah, I think that like you'll be scanned for electronic devices. Like it's so like movie-esque that it doesn't even feel real, if that makes sense.
See what it was, and just started reading the first couple lines.
Also, it's important to note that that was made out to Mr. Ramsey, not the mom.
And she was not in her bed.
Patsy happened to be standing by the phone. I said, call the police.
It's what you should do.
My youngest son, Burke, was asleep.
And did you kidnap her because you felt like you were more likely to get the money? Did you kidnap her because she was well known? Did you, like, what was the reason? Because the son was, I'm assuming, sleeping right down the hall. She was targeted. The daughter was targeted in this situation. Ugh.
Kidnapping for ransom, we never had a case.
So rare. It's like, who are you?
I know he said, JonBenét's been taken, but we're going to get her back. I was totally focused on what have I got to do to get my daughter back. I could get her back if I kept my wits about me and kept focused.
As I'm sitting here thinking about it, I was thinking about how the ransom was addressed to him and everything was to him as far as what I heard. Nothing about the mother. So either this, if I had to guess, this is so fucking weird that I'm even guessing because this is like real life. But this is somebody targeting the father. This is somebody targeting the father, and I find it interesting that you can kind of make this argument. I wouldn't say that it's a good argument, but you can make this argument that a father's daughter is more precious to him than his son is. And I think that it also just added that she was so well known, but taking his daughter was the worst possible thing that you can do to him. Not to say that his son's life is worth anything less or it means anything less. I just think that for him was the most it's almost seen as precious, I think. And in 96, I don't know, I was just born, but boys were kind of being taught, grow up, be a man, and girls were kind of very like, this is my little girl. So it seems like whoever did this, oh God, it's weird to say, but she could have just been a means to an end. And that end was getting to him, the dad.
The two detectives searched the house.
It's over 6,500 square feet.
This adds to whoever did this had to know the layout of this house, because you're not breaking into a house if you have no idea what it's going to look like inside, and you're not breaking into that house without making noise or without running into something. They had to know exactly where she slept versus where her brother slept versus where her parents slept. Like, so much planning went into this. Like, look at what they had to travel through this house to get out.
Officers had searched the house, didn't find JonBenét.
The police prepped me on, okay, when they call, asked to talk to JonBenét.
Make sure she's alive, proof of life.
And I asked Mr. Ramsey if he had a sample of his handwriting and a sample of Mrs. Ramsey's handwriting.
This is not uncommon. This is what a detective or a police officer would do if there's anything. So even if there was a sticky note with a sentence written on it, they would take writing samples from everybody. First, they would start with the people closest to her, mom, dad, family, friends, family and friends. They start with the people closest to her, because when a child is killed, when a child is assaulted, any of that, the first person you usually look at is the parents. And then if it's a person with a spouse, the first person they would look at is the spouse. So this is not uncommon for them to take it. It doesn't mean that they think that they're guilty. It doesn't mean that they find them as suspects. But this would be a way to eliminate them as being a possible suspect.
I was going through the notebook that contained Patsy's handwriting with what appeared to be the initial ransom note. It could have been like the first draft of what it appeared to me to be the possible ransom note.
Everything I said I take back. Oh. No. I can't. What? Okay. Let's run, guys, we're gonna run some scenarios here. Why would they have have written a ransom note? A lot of things could have potentially happened. She could have been it could have been an accident, and they could have wrote the ransom note to make it seem like somebody broke in. That's very plausible. That's all I got. That's all I got. What do you got? Because that's all I got. Oh, okay. I don't like this feeling. Okay. Let me watch.
I was shocked to find that.
And that one says Mr. and Mrs. It's interesting.
That the ransom note was written from that notebook in the Ramsey household.
Interesting.
FBI agents in the room, I remember him saying, you always have to look at the family.
It's the hardest thing to do, but you gotta dig through the family's history to figure out what's going on.
First thing that struck me about the note was the length of the note. It's quite unusual.
Yeah,
See this magnum opus.
That's what I was saying. That's so long. It's like a manifesto. If you're writing a ransom note, it is so. When I tell you, I've never written a ransom note, okay? I don't want you guys thinking that I'm weird. But when you write a ransom note, with all the ransom notes that I've seen, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Criminal Minds, I'm sure I've seen several other ones, Pretty Little Liars. With all of these notes that I've seen, they're usually one page, and it's very simple. Sometimes they don't even address it, and it'll just say, we have your daughter, we want $100,000 in cash, we'll call with more information. No police, no cops, or she dies. That's it. It's so straight, simple, and to the point. But when you start to add in more, it's so suspicious.
Your typical ransom notes are short and to the point. The next thing that
call me SSA Elaina.
The $118,000.
That's what I'm saying. It's a random ass number.
Odd number to add.
Oh my God. Whew.
That the note was essentially bogus. It was not truly a kidnapping note.
This is wild, bro. This is so weird. Okay. Okay. 10:15.
You're so frustrated because you want the whole world to just stop right there so that you can go find this baby.
That was interesting.
Ramsey was nervous, wanted to know what was going on. So the detective was there, said, why don't you just search the house again?
What I'm going to say was interesting about what she said was so we can go find this baby instead of my baby. That's interesting. God, who am I? I don't know. Guys, let me know if I'm way off. Let me know if I'm spot on. I don't know. Do we know? Like, was this solved? I don't know. But yeah, I just think that that's interesting. She's not personalizing it. You know what I mean? She's not she's saying this. She can't say my or her, or they'll refer to they can't say their name when it happens.
So my friend and I went downstairs, went to the basement, and immediately I saw the window. One of the windows was open and broken.
Was the glass inside or outside?
And I immediately heard her body was right there in front of me. The detective, wait a damn minute. Hold up, wait a minute, let me figure out what's going on. The detectives searched the house, did they not? And they didn't find her body. But the dad found it in the basement? So either the detective searched the house and did a really trash job, which this was what, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 7 years after the Menendez brothers, and we knew that the cops were trash back then. Either the detective searched this house and did not find her body, or they searched the house, and within the time that they searched it, from the time that the dad goes into the basement, her body was put there, which both scenarios are mortifying to me, because we got really bad cops, or we've got somebody in the house who did this to her. And okay, ransom note, definitely not real. It's looking more and more like somebody in the family did this, and maybe it was an accident. But even like the window being broken or opened and the suitcase being there, it looks like it's so staged. Does that make sense? It feels very staged to me. So I just screamed, and I picked her up and carried her upstairs just to try to get her help.
In kind of an undertone and a whisper to another one, I knew it. They killed their daughter.
Yeah. So I want to address the mom's behavior in that interview. It could be a multitude of things, and by that I mean two. One, she did it, and she did it, and she is kind of disassociated, and that's why you're not really seeing, you know, tears or anything. It kind of feels like she's not giving anything. And two, this could just be how she decided to cope. It's could just be how she copes. She could just be so exhausted. She could have cried it all out. And sometimes it is very possible to get to a point where you literally run out of tears and you are so exhausted that like you can't cry anymore. So it can be either of those things. I think under these circumstances, it looks like she might have done this.
Well, when police got here, they went inside the house, and a short time later, they found the little girl's body.
I don't know that police found it.
Now you're starting to do some research into who are the Ramseys.
Mr. Ramsey is president of Access Graphics, a billion-dollar business in town.
Jesus. Which makes the ransom note even more weird.
Come flying down this hill?
Oof.
And she was 23 and I was 35, but then I got to know her a little bit. She's like, she's pretty smart.
I think what makes me so emotional, nothing out of the normal, is that you can't help but think, watching the videos from Christmas, like, what happened to this family? Like, what went wrong here? I don't know. Are we gonna find out what went wrong? Because, I don't see the dad being, I don't know. I guess we don't see parents in general.
And we were lucky. We were in the computer industry and it was growing like crazy.
That's crazy.
John Ramsey's daughter, Beth, she was from his first marriage, was killed in a car accident.
When we lost Beth,
I obviously was just devastated
Jesus.
that I probably took care of her, and she would always worry about what was Dad going to do on Christmas or Thanksgiving if we weren't together.
Oh.
She just had a way of coming up to you and snuggling up. She was just a very sensitive child that way.
This is very possible. I think that what we don't understand and what we underestimate sometimes is how connected children are to universe, to God, whatever you want to call it, because they're so pure, right? They don't really have a sense of good versus evil. It's very pure driven, very soul driven and spirit driven. And because of that, you kind of get that. That's why kids kind of love you unconditionally when they're children. They don't know any better. And so it would make sense that a child would be able to feel that sadness and kind of seek you out and kind of love on you, because they know that that feeling doesn't feel right to them, and they want to make sure that you feel like them. And it's a very beautiful thing, and it's a very sad thing when the world loses a child, when you think about the fact that they are so very pure, and have so much life to live.
And it was ovarian cancer.
Follow it up, it's going in here. It's all right, Mommy should say. It's all right. It won't hurt very long,
So pure. She was so pure.
She did that for a year, and they said, "You're cancer-free. You're in remission."
Yeah, I bet it was. Wow.
And nobody was going to raise these two children the way I wanted it done. I'm going to be there.
The way I wanted it done was just an interesting thing to say in that moment, but what do I know?
There was some complexity as to how the garrote was put together.
That's such an interesting weapon.
The garrote was left embedded in her throat.
I never saw the garrote. It was so embedded in her throat, I didn't see it.
Oh, thank you for that. Thanks for that. Let's get off of that.
Her fingerprints, like as she was.
Oh. The hardest part. Ooh, yeah. Let me just gather my thoughts there. At 6 years old, she was able to comprehend what was happening. Don't let the purity of children be mistaken for the unawareness of them, because she was very aware of what was going on. And I'm assuming he's getting ready to say that she was trying to claw it off of her neck to breathe, right? And so I just think that that's such a vicious way to go. To be somebody literally squeezed the life out of this child and left it there in a hurry. You left it in a hurry. You had to be somewhere else. Get out of my face. Oh God. I don't know if the dad was acting stupid or not, but he said garrote, which tells me that if he's not acting stupid, he has no idea what the hell we're talking about. So it couldn't have been him.
Well, when they got her to the autopsy table and opened up, her brain, they realized she'd been hit over the head.
Incapacitated.
With a blow that left an 8-inch crack in her skull, part of her skull caved in.
Where's the blood?
They thought might be involved with the injury to John.
I have so many fucking questions. Oh, it's just pissing me off now. Where is the blood? If she was hit over the top of her head and there was an 8-inch incision or an 8-inch indentation, She was bleeding. There's no way this girl was not bleeding from the top of her head. So where is the blood? Who cleaned up the blood?
But there's no physical evidence on the flashlight or on the bat.
Over it.
Autopsy on JonBenét said the cause of death was for 2 reasons. Either the garrote...
Craniocerebral trauma.
He said he did not name either one because he could not determine which happened first, that they were as close to simultaneous as he could figure.
So you literally hit her over the head and then killed her immediately.
Brush handle that were found in her vaginal area, indicating she was assaulted with the paint.
Okay. She was 6. She was 6. I don't know why we have to keep talking about age with these things. I don't know what the hell was going on back in the 80s, 90s, but this is insanity to me. Now, if I were an investigator, I would say, if I was in Criminal Minds, and I'm so sorry, I'm literally not making light of the situation, I'm just using Criminal Minds as a reference point because it's the only thing that's making my brain work right now. But if I were in Criminal Minds, I would say that most men, and I really hope that I don't know what I hope, actually. I can't say that I hope anything specific. But I would imagine that most men, first of all, if you've broken in, if somebody broke in, took her out of her bed, took her down to the basement, hit her over the head, her and killed her, like they're acting like they had all the time in the world because it takes time to do that. Now, what I will say is that men are less likely to use objects, depending, unless they're incompetent, and women are more likely to because they literally can't. So this is stressful because it could go either way. It could be the mom, it could be the dad, it could be the brother. God, doesn't that suck that that's where our mind has to go for all of this stuff? It could be the 9-year-old brother. I don't know. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. It could, I guess it could be some random person, but this doesn't feel random. The paintbrush handle. That's okay. And then
Such
choked with
fury.
it. That's crazy.
Such anger. She was tortured and she was murdered.
I agree, Paula. I agree with Paula. I am agreeing with Paula.
JonBenét Ramsey was in child beauty pageant. ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN for the whole month of January, led with the Ramsey case.
I remember when this was like there was a big uproar about child beauty pageants. What the hell was that accent? I remember when there was a big uproar about child beauty pageants, and a lot of it was just because of, unfortunately, pedophiles. And dressing these little girls up as grown women was really just something that society did not understand and could not get behind. And I think that this case kind of skyrockets that, or like really adds to the side of this is why we shouldn't, because you can say somebody who saw her in a pageant became obsessed with her, and that's how it happened. So it's just, it is an interesting, child beauty pageants in general, I guess, are an interesting thing.
The
How is that even a
that
thing?
I've seen of JonBenét, it seems she doesn't seem like a child at all. She seems like a
Dominic Dunn.
Sexually
Hi,
aware
Dominic.
about her.
Welcome back to my annoying.
Shots
Oh my!
we've
I
seen.
cannot believe I'm getting Dominic again. Dominic, I thought I was done with your ass. Here you are, popping up on my screen.
Of this little 6-year-old child are like a little tarted up miniature dwarf hooker.
A dwarf hooker is crazy. Crazy.
What they saw was a sexualized child.
I'm looking from that vantage point. It was not happening that way.
The dad not reacting was interesting.
Performing in front of parents and grandparents, probably never more than 20 or 30 parents, mothers and fathers of other daughters that were in the program.
But you don't know that. Anybody could have watched those.
Thought, well, maybe, I may never live to see her do a lot of things.
It's crazy because in a way you still didn't. No, God, that's so sad.
No arrests have been made, but people have been talking about the tragedy, who they suspect, how the police have handled the investigation.
I'm sorry, not finding the body is crazy to me.
Searching the house, suggesting to the dad that he search the house and then he finds the body. And he's not
I have no reason to question the police at all.
That's absolutely crazy. That is so crazy. Like, hey, listen, you're really annoying us up here. So if you don't mind just going and like checking the rest of the house, that'd be so totally tubular. Like, that's so crazy to me. And then the dad finds the body. And now we're all looking at you like, well, wait a damn minute. How do we know that he didn't just put the body there? And why didn't you search the damn house? Oh my God, I'm over it. I'm over bad cops. I'm over bad cops.
Boulder police did not have a track record of handling many homicides for the simple reason that
clearly, thank you for letting us know.
The Boulder Police Department's
I'll give it to them
ability to investigate
for that.
I don't think so. Just because
I can agree with that. I would have brought somebody else in.
actually a sign of remarkable strength in a community.
That lack of experience.
Well, I don't think that
procedurally
was the point. The point was, do you think that because they're inexperienced in homicides, it made for an inexperienced looking investigation? And the answer, Mayor, is yes, they are inexperienced. And I would rather you tell me that they're inexperienced. Don't sit up here and lie to my face, though. They're inexperienced. You should have brought in a more experienced person to handle the situation.
A preliminary search of the house, and remember, this is a very big house.
Not a good enough excuse.
It doesn't appear that they got down. That room was down in a part of the basement. It doesn't appear that they got to.
Then, okay. Let me explain something. A preliminary search is a search of the entire house to make sure that the victim is not, or the suspect is not there. The entirety of the house. I don't care if your house is 10,000 square feet. We're talking about a missing 6-year-old. What? It's like, you know what? Oh my God. You know what? We did search like 4,000 square feet of your house. The other 2,500, it's a lot. We already got our steps in. Well, wait. We're just gonna wait for somebody else to come in. Like, I don't care if your house is 10,000 square feet. I am searching the entirety of it because your 6-year-old daughter is missing. It, God, it's looking like, God, they just didn't get down there. They took a rain check. Yeah, idiocracy.
One of the cops did not open the door where JonBenét was lying. Major mistake, and I believe he lives with that to this.
I bet he does.
Another procedure question. Why was the Ramsey house not sealed off as a crime scene until several hours after the kidnapping was reported?
The minute that a kidnapping is reported, wherever that kidnapping took place, immediately it is a crime scene. A crime occurred in this space, in this scene. Therefore, it is a crime scene. You have to tape it off, get everybody out of there, because every single person that is walking in this house, mom, dad, brother, investigators, detectives, whatever you want to call them, they are trampling all over potential evidence. Lock it down, sister. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that.
They had called their friends over So you've got a house full of people. People are washing dishes.
You're destroying evidence.
But at the time, it looked like a legitimate kidnapping. So I thought, well, these are the support system for the Ramseys, and
then they can be supportive in a hotel.
And carried it upstairs, effectively destroying the crime scene.
When Mr. Ramsey discovered
Agreed.
her body, he
pulled the tape off her mouth. Could have had fingerprints on it. Could have had DNA. Now there's touch DNA from the blanket to the duct tape.
Removed.
Was there a concern now at all?
Especially that sticky side of the duct tape. I think a lot of people assume that the fingerprint would be on that outside, but that sticky side, you know, when you're handling duct tape, it just kind of sticks. Oh, the fingerprints. CSI Miami.
Or not?
That can be speculated on, but all indications are that we did not lose anything.
You lying mother trucker.
Tension on the Ramseys as suspects, I know, began on day one. A variety of different things.
The ransom note, the paintbrush.
I know who killed JonBenét. There's no doubt in my mind who killed JonBenét.
Oh, responding officer.
On television, she said that she felt she was face to face with the killer.
Her dad?
A nonverbal exchanged that I will never forget.
Is it the brother? Does she think it's the brother?
We didn't act right in the eyes of this so-called detective that was there.
Oh, okay. She thought it was the dad.
I was looking for, is there another communication? She interpreted that as he's just casually looking through the mail.
It's again. What you gotta weigh it one way or another. Either he's overtly guilty, and this is how a guilty man acts, or he just doesn't know how to cope. He's trying to figure it out. His mind is running at 800 miles a minute. Now, we would like to believe that because she was the responding detective, yada, yada, yada. But from what I can see, the detectives are trash anyways.
She told me, she just suggested to John Ramsey, why don't you guys go search the house, just to kind of give him something to do.
That's still, and for her to even suggest that is stupid.
And see if you see anything unusual.
Why don't you and your friend go trance through the house, through the crime scene for me? Go ahead and just trance through the house. I'm over it. I'll never get over this. I'm never going to get over this, am I? No, I'm never going to get over this.
I think that there was a sense that that was just, if you're going to say search the house, that was just an odd first room to go.
It is a weird first room. I can agree with that. I can agree with why it looks suspicious.
The logical place to start would be the basement. That's where the easiest access would be to the house.
Okay, I can see that point as well. Ish.
John Ramsey has hired a well-known criminal lawyer, and a Denver newspaper reports he will not talk to police.
I mean, when everybody is going to start to accuse them of it, then yeah, I get it.
Why are they running?
Family and friends of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey came by to pay final respects to the Marietta native.
That's insane.
I can tell you that the heart of God is broken by the tragic death.
God, that coffin is tiny.
It didn't matter. We'd lost our child. I mean, I would have been happy to die.
That's saying something.
Why are they doing interviews with CNN if they're not going to do a formal interview?
That is true. Girl, hold on. Y'all do gotta go to the cops.
We have to find out who did this.
I remember watching it and thinking about how medicated Patsy was.
I can see that.
I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a he.
It's an interesting thing to say. I don't think that back in the day, many people assumed that women could do something like this. So it's interesting to say, I don't know if it was a he or a she, because I don't think that anybody would assume that a woman would do this.
In Boulder, the city's mayor, having heard Mrs. Ramsey's warning the day before, tries to downplay any alarm.
There was no visible sign.
The mayor came out and said this. That's crazy.
How does she know? How does anybody know? Nobody knows who the killer is.
I think you would assume that she had
Yeah, I can see that.
They're Patsy Ramsey's warning that there's a killer on the loose.
Well, I don't like it. Sounded phony to me.
He's got a point. He does have a point.
And so they had an orchestrated appearance. It didn't seem sincere to me.
The problem is that once something this tragic happens, you're almost better off not saying anything, because everything that you do, whether you're guilty or not, is gonna look guilty. If you show your face, people are gonna find that it's orchestrated or feel like it's a performance, like she's saying here. Or if you don't show your face, people are going to say, well, they haven't said anything, so it must be true. It truly just is a lose-lose situation. So I think the best thing that you can do is try to find some peace with the situation. And that is not to be taken lightly at all. I think that that's a very heavy burden and a heavy thing to do, find peace with that. But I just think that this was just a lose-lose scenario.
The DNA report talked about some DNA samples.
She fought hard. Good for her.
None of that DNA matched anybody in the...
Jesus.
They kept that secret because it conflicted with their conclusion that we were the killers.
And under her fingernails, that don't match anybody in the family.
It's just crazy.
Thorough, innocent explanation for foreign DNA to end up on a 6-year-old's...
I can agree.
There's no innocent explanation. So whose DNA is that?
Wonderful. I think that, oh man, I think that the exclusion of the DNA, I think that the reason why it was never leaked, I think that a lot of it didn't have to do with them wanting to fit a narrative versus them wanting to cover up the fact that they were really bad at their jobs. So like I said, I don't know. I don't really know what to believe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. From what it sounds like, if there was no DNA that matched the family, then somebody, it's so hard to believe. Not impossible, just hard to believe. Somebody was able to break in, take her out of bed, hit her over the head, strangle and sexually assault this girl, and nobody in that house heard it. I don't care how big your house is. But she was duct taped and her hands were bound, so I don't know. It's just hard to believe that somebody would do that and think that they had all the time in the world to do it if they didn't at least know the family. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm so conflicted. I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to think. I have no idea what's going to happen next. Everything that I hear is brand spanking new. So it's all a lot for me. But I'm happy that I'm watching it. I'm happy that I'm understanding it and I'm getting to see what's going on. Yeah. Let me know down in the comments, guys. We're going to watch the next 2 episodes here, probably really shortly, just so that I can get it done, so that I can at least see it, even if I'm in the editing process before you guys go and tell me everything in the comments. But I do want you to just commune in the comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking, how you're feeling, if you think you know who did it, if we have no idea, if you think we're ever going to find out. I don't know if this is going to tell me. So... yeah. With that being said, if you stayed the whole time and you enjoyed it, thank you so much. If you stayed the whole time and you hated it, I'm so sorry, but thank you. We will be back to watch the next episode shortly. That's pretty much all I have for you. So as always, be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and above all else, I love you.